What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 17 of the Flex RX. Man, we are racking up these episodes. And so today is going to be a pretty fun one. So, sometimes I'm like, I don't know what to talk about today. Like, what's going to be the topic? And so I post on my stories on Instagram. And so I appreciate you guys when you submit some questions. And sometimes you can deep dive on some of those. So I got a question on there. I got a question on my Instagram, and so I want to, deep dive on this one. And so the question that I got, so today's topic is going to be about this question that I got on Instagram in my submit a question things. And so what that's going to be, and this question was from Jovi_T. So shout out to you. The question was, if you woke up fat, what's the first thing you do to start getting lean again? So I'm going to take you guys through exactly what I would do if I woke up in a spot. Let's say, ideally this won't happen, but knock on woods. But let's say that I get a bad injury and I'm out of the gym for like 12 months and I lose a ton of muscle because I'm just not training. I gain some body fat, a lot of it. And let's say I need to start back from kind of the square one. So I'm going to take you guys through exactly step-by-step what I would do. So if you're in a position where you want to lose body fat, you can probably just, run this through. Also, thank you, Honorary Boomer. Congrats on the new baby. Thank you. Due later this year. So exciting stuff, fatherhood, and can't wait for figuring out the sleep game then. But the question that I got, so we'll write it down. If you woke up, Matt, what's the first thing you'd do to start getting lean again? So what would I do? So step one, here's the first thing that I would do. And we're going to say example for me. If you guys know right now, I'm 215 pounds. I'm 6'2". So I'm pretty darn lean right now. And so let's say that I wake up, no training for 12 months, bad injury. And then let's say I'm 250 pounds with less muscle. And let's say we're going to say I get up to like 30% body fat or something like that. But these are just like arbitrary numbers, just numbers. So the first thing that I would do, this is where I would start. And this is where we start with when I'm doing a fat loss phase. This is where I start. Our clients in HFP, this is where we start. HFP. So number one is to just start weighing in daily. This is going to be a daily thing. The reason why we want to do this is because we got to know where we're at. So in my case here, it's like if I just, gained a lot of weight, and if I don't know if I'm 245, if I'm 250 pounds, and then I don't know if, let's say I weigh in a month later and I'm at like 244 pounds. Am I did I lose 6 pounds? Did I lose 1 pound? Do I have to change up what I'm doing? Am I making good progress? We've even seen people where we do daily weigh-ins, and sometimes people will know the amount of progress they've made, but they don't know relative to if that's successful or not. You're 8 weeks into something and you're down 15 pounds. We've had people, especially in HFP, and we're like, hey, you crushed it. You're 15 pounds down in like 8 weeks. And they're like, yeah, I don't really notice too many changes. We're like, this is incredible progress. Like, you should be really proud of yourself. And sometimes we just don't know what success looks like. Like a lot of people, especially with social media, if you deadlift, let's say 315 pounds coming from 225, that's awesome. But when you look at these 16-year-olds, 18-year-olds that are like deadlifting 700 pounds, you're like, is that just what good looks like? But there's a lot of this gap from 225 to get to 700 to be proud of the steps along the way. You don't know if that 16 or 18-year-old had been lifting since they're like 10 years old or 12 years old. You may be in year one. So sometimes it's just like to know what is success and am I making success? Am I making progress? So that's why first off, if my number one goal is to lose this body fat, I need to look at the scoreboard. This is the scoreboard for fat loss. Oh, but Kevin, what if I gain 10 pounds and I lose body fat? Is that possible? Yeah, totally. But that could take you years to do because we can lose fat at such a faster rate. Lose fat at such a faster rate than muscle can muscle can be gained. And so that's very important because I know weighing in is not perfect, but it's a good correlator for fat loss. And in this case too, if I'm like 30%, 40% body fat, I'm not, and let's talk in my relative terms, I'm not going to be 250 pounds at 10% body fat. I am not going to lose 20% body fat while staying the same weight. Let's do math. Let's do some math. Math is fun. So if I'm 250 pounds, let's say 30% body fat, that is 75 pounds of, no. Yeah, 30%. Yeah, that's 75. Yeah, so 75 pounds of body fat. And so if I'm going to go to 10%, so that's 25 pounds of body fat. So that means that's going to be 50 pounds of body fat I'm going to be losing. If I'm going to stay the same 250 pounds and drop 50 pounds of body fat, this means that I have to gain 50 pounds of muscle. How likely is that to happen for somebody, one, not on anabolics, two, even somebody on anabolics? Like that's going to be hard to do, and that's going to take a lot of time. And so all that being considered is it's going to be your best correlator. Just focus on the number on the scale, and the extra additional fat loss you get from like the strength training that you're doing, eating your protein, the body composition benefits you get, that's going to be more of that bonus. And that's how I think about that. So I want to see that net loss on the scale. And so in this case, so I'm going to start weighing in. This is going to be the scoreboard for fat loss. And this is going to be really useful to be looked at. And what gets tracked gets improved. So I think of it as the scoreboard. But again, like we've had people in HFP, I can even name one case where lost 0 pounds by the end of the first 16 weeks, was down 4 inches off the waist. So vascularity, never seen before, more muscle definition than I'd seen before. But that's like 1 in about like 1,000. Like generally, if you're going to lose 4 inches off the waist, you're going to be down a net of like 15 to 20 pounds on the scale. Number 2, this is the second thing I would start doing. Track my food intake. This is also going to be daily. Just track your food intake because we know the scoreboard we're looking at, but now what is the basketball, the tracking of food intake or the calories? This is kind of like the basketball. It's like the basketball for the hoop. We're going with the basketball thing stuff today. So this is the scoreboard. We already got that. So scoreboard, calories. This is the basketball in which you put points on the scoreboard. Actually the metaphor is going to get really confusing eventually. But I would track my food intake because we need a calorie deficit to lose body fat. And so at a certain point, and let's think about this. So like there's a lot in calorie balance. So the endpoint we need is a calorie deficit. And a lot of people are absolutely right that if a calorie deficit is what's required, yes, there's a lot of things that go into, what is the end point. There's this big machine of calories in, and then this big machine takes place, and then we have our calorie, balance equation. So there's a lot of things going on. So there's your daily activity level. There's your metabolism. There's your genetics play into it. I mean, your height, sex, weight, all those kinds of things play into how many calories do I actually, burn. And so that be what it is, it can be confusing. There's a lot going into it, but we know the outcome we need is a calorie deficit. And so when it comes to focusing on tracking your food intake, the reason I like this is because out of this big machine that we have, calories in is the most controllable factor we have because we can assume all this other stuff going into this machine, we can keep relatively constant, or it's going to be relatively constant. Our food intake, the calories in part of the equation, that's pretty malleable, and we can change that. We have control over that. And I'm a big fan of controlling the controllables because that's kind of all we can do. So with that being said, what I would do is I'd be focusing on, what is my calorie intake? Because again, I'll write this in. So our steps, our body size, our sex, our body size, height, that goes into all of it, genetics, etc., all goes into our expenditure. But when steps and workouts are consistent week to week, your calories out is relatively consistent. It's going to be pretty similar. There's not going to be these big swings. Like if you're getting the same step count and you're working out the same 4 times per week, you're not going to have swings of like 2,000 calorie extra expenditure, like out of nothing. But when you control your food intake, you can eat 300 calories less on a daily basis and make that 2,000 calorie, 2,100 calorie difference. So the most controllable thing we have to ensure we sustain a cal deficit is to control our intake. And so what I'm going to do from here, number 3, I'm just going to tell you some like habits that I would ideally be, this is what I'm going to be like rolling with that I would recommend. And so what I recommend on these like habits, so I'm going to put this one in parentheses because it's not really like I would do this next. This is just things that I would always recommend to be doing at this time and what I would do if I was in this situation. I want to lose body fat, probably gain my muscle back. So I'm going to be getting sufficient protein intake. So that's going to be about 1 gram per pound goal body weight. So in this case, I would say like, 200 plus is going to be solid for me around there. Another thing that I would be doing is I would find a step count target that's reasonable for me and my lifestyle. That could be like 8K steps. Is 10K steps per day better than 8K? Yeah, you burn an extra 100 calories per day. About 2,000 steps is about 100 calories burned. But is it realistic for you? Do I want to spend that much time outside walking than doing maybe other things? Or you can always ask yourself this. Could I eat 100 calories less, or do I want to walk 20 minutes more? Because 20 minutes is about how long it takes to walk about a mile, being about 2,000 steps, being about 100 calories burned, and eating 100 calories less is the same thermodynamic effect. So I'd probably get a reasonable step count that gets me reasonably active, so I'm not super sedentary. That's going to be helpful. Another habit that I would be doing is working out. So work out, and I'd recommend being in that vicinity of 4 to 5 times per week. For me, I prefer to be in that 5 to 6, but like I have competitive goals in terms of like, lifting weights, and I like the game of competitive sports. That's just me. I like the game of competitive sports, and I'll be honest, like, do I love running when I'm doing it? No, it kind of sucks. I'm sweaty and like it's hard to breathe. Same thing with like lifting weights. It's hard. I'm sweating and like, not always my joints feel good, but like afterwards I'm like, yeah, cool. I moved the bar forward. I did the hard work. I feel fulfilled. Now we're going to move into number 4, and this is the big money maker. So the big money maker is going to be look at the trend of my weight and look at my calorie average. Adjust calorie target based on that. It's an algorithm. So what I would do here is I'm keeping my protein consistent. My calories, I would probably early on, I would just, the high always makes the run worth it. Yeah, the runner's high. I think I've only had I honestly, after running, I feel pretty fatigued. I did run today, but I think now I'm able to handle 3 to 5 milers and actually not be as fatigued later in the day. But yeah, like on a long run day, I'm pretty beat. Although we hosted 2 barbecues and I got like 15 miles ran this last weekend. So that was a new PR. But it can be fatiguing. But back on topic, look at the trend of my weight and look at my calorie average. So adjust that. So target 1 to 2 pounds loss per week. If I'm losing less than 1 pound per week, I'm dropping calories. So losing too slow, drop calories. So I'll drop by 100 to 300 calories. It depends on like how slow things get. But this initially it's going to be bigger chunks. As like if I already lost 10 pounds and now I'm like, oh, I'm losing 1 pound per week right now. I just want to speed things up. I'll drop like 50 calories or something, maybe 100. But early on, you're gonna have to take some big bricks out. Like if I'm like, I just start tracking my intake, I'm tracking my weigh-in, my weight staying about the same. So weight staying about the same. My calories, let's say, are like 2,500 calories. Weight staying the same. So I'd be like, all right, like I gotta rip the Band-Aid a little bit. Let me take 300-400 calories away, and let's see what the rate of loss looks like. And so that's the game that we're looking at. And so if things slow down, drop the calories. You have other options, but I'd say early on, just take the big chunks at your calories because that's going to be for sure big impact. number 5 is just pretty much repeat, repeat, repeat. So when rate of loss slows, adjust adjust calorie balance. And so I'll walk through all of the options that you do have, because it's not just calories in terms of intake. I think that's the most powerful one, but eventually at a certain time, you're going to be like, okay, my calories are so low, like maybe I can just be a little bit more active, and you'll trade time instead of trading food. So it's kind of, there's a cost to anything. And so you could just, go walk more. If walking is too slow for burning calories, you could go jog. If that's, too slow, or like that's too difficult, or you just don't like the impact, then you can do it in elliptical. So there's a lot of options. It's great to be alive in 2024. So when rate of loss slows, adjust calorie balance. So first thing, you can drop calories, AKA food. You can drop that by like, 50. You can even do as low as like 25 calories to like 200. You can just drop that. You could also, another option is add activity, aka expenditure. And so this could be, cardio in the form of, of running, elliptical. And these you can probably just have like a calorie target. Elliptical, Peloton, if you bougie like that. So drop calories, add activity. And then also, this is still add activity, but I feel like this is kind of like, it's almost like a behind the scenes activity. Like, it's not as brutal. You can really work it in. You don't need any equipment. I would just do it inside, but that would be adding steps. And so every 2K steps you add is there's 100 calories burned. It's about a mile traveled. So these are kind of like the 3 things that I would look to change when my rate of loss slows. So again, if I were 250 pounds, I gained a lot of body fat, maybe I lost a lot of muscle, what I would first start by doing is I would start weighing in. So I just start weighing in, seeing where I'm at, seeing where my weight's fluctuating at. Start tracking my food intake. How many calories am I eating? How can I improve this? How can I change this? And then the 4th thing I do is I just look at how those two are associated. I'm eating 3,000 calories a day, and my weight's slowly gaining at 1 pound per week. Okay, cool. So I need to drop like 800 calories. Maybe I'm going to drop between 500 and 1,000 calories to like try to get in a robust deficit. And I'm just going to rip the Band-Aid. That may be something that has to be done. And so then I'm going to make an adjustment, make a call, run that game, and then I'm going to reevaluate. And this is the repeat. I look at the trend of my weight loss now after I drop from 3,000 calories to like, let's say 2,200 calories. Okay, now I'm losing 1 pound per week. That worked for like 3 weeks. Now I'm losing 0.5 pounds per week. Okay, cool. Let's drop another 200 calories. Let's speed that back up. Okay, now I'm losing 1.5 to 2 pounds per week. After 4 weeks, that slows down to, 1 to like 0.75. All right, let's drop like 50 calories. Let's drop 100 calories, get things moving again. And that's kind of the cycle of what fat loss looks like. Because what loses the first 10 pounds probably will not lose the second 10 pounds. Because as you are in a fat loss phase, you're literally becoming a less energy expensive mass. Going from 250 pounds to 225 pounds, you're moving from like a maybe a class, I don't even know what H1s, H2s, but you're like a Hummer. Now like you're going to move into like, now you're like a pickup truck. So like you reduce, but your fuel economy probably improved. Go from big Hummer to like a pickup truck. Fuel economy is better. So like, you're a little bit more energy efficient. So like now to get in that deficit, we just need to supply less energy. And then eventually you work your way. And now it's like, oh man, I'm a energy efficient. I'm a Toyota Corolla. So you just won't need as many calories as you work down that mass. And so that's changing. And then your body's always adapting as well. Do I think metabolic adaptation is like gonna, crush you until, you can't lose weight if you're eating 800 calories per day? No, it typically doesn't work like that. And the people that cannot lose weight on a true 800 calories per day, they're typically like, 4'10" to 5'2", females that may be sedentary. My wife, 5'1", when she's like 105 pounds, when she's dieting in a deficit, trying to lose a pound per week, it gets ugly. It can be 700 to like 900 calories per day. And And that's just what it is. Like, we're not all super energy expensive. As much as we love to say we all run on 2,000 calories per day, we don't. And that's why it's important to know your individual numbers. And that's why I didn't say anything about a BMR calculator or a generalization. I just said, if you're losing 1 to 2 pounds per week, here's the adjustments to do. When that slows, here's the adjustments, and kind of the numbers will fall where they do. And listen to your satiety signaling. You want a sprinkle of hunger. That's a good reinforcement or good sign that you're in a calorie deficit. So hope that is helpful for you guys, but that's kind of my step-by-step what I would do if I, gained a lot of body fat and I wanted to, lose that body fat, maybe build some muscle along the way and get back on track. And it's pretty much what I do in all my fat loss phases and what we do with our clients in the Healthy Flex prescription, which you can apply for. It's the link in bio.